Hi everyone, Joe Kehrig here with the Kehrig Real Estate Team. Welcome to week 2 shelter in place in our real estate market and how the coronavirus is affecting the real estate business out there. As I mentioned last week, really in the whole scope of things, real estate doesn't mean a lot right now. But because we're getting so many questions, these weekly, updates is just to keep you informed. First off, make sure you're sheltered and safe. It is so important these first few weeks that we keep our social distance as much as possible to not spread the disease because over time, a lot of people are going to get the disease, but if we can keep it from spiking, we'll be able to get the hospitals the material they need where they're not overwhelmed. So the shelter in space is very important, except for obviously essential services. So be safe. Our thoughts are with you and your family during this time. We also want to thank, we always thank the military and the first responders, but the doctors and the nurses, and not only that, the truck drivers, the people lining the shelves, putting stuff in the shelves. So next time you do go shopping, thank those people. They're out there putting their own health at risk just to make sure that we have the essentials that we need. The other thing that I found really important as I'm sheltering in place for the most part is to develop a routine. I spent the first couple of days just kind of lounging around and watching TV, and I had to get back in my routine. I had to wake up every morning and work out, go to my home office and get to work. So it helps to kind of get in the routine. So the second week of shelter in place, we have a lot of good news. We have a ton of good news. Obviously, there's some promising drugs out there that are working. The supplies are starting to get to people, even though we're still a little bit behind. We see China and South Korea, where this thing started, starting to leveling out. And even I heard today that the hospitalization in New York for the first time is leveling. So there's good news all the way around. Congress just passed a $2 trillion bill to help rebuild the businesses and for the consumer, the self-employed, the people that have been laid off. So Congress came together. It feels so much like if you remember 9/11, that people just came together. GM, Ford, 3M, even distilleries are making hand sanitizers. People are making masks out of their home, for our doctors and nurses. I mean, you just hear one story after another of everyone just, coming together. I know it seems like it's kind of two steps forward and one step back. The reason I say that, there's so much good news that, but every time someone dies, that's a step back. So it is kind of two steps forward right now and one step back. The stock market has gone up a ton just the last couple of days, where it hit really low. And one thing to remember with the stock market, those people that bought in 2008, you know, uh, they're not too unhappy, or the people that kept their stock in 2008 aren't too unhappy that they kept it. Because remember, you don't lose money. People talk about how much they lost in the stock market. You don't lose it till you actually sell it. And it's gone up, quite a bit just in the last couple days. And, overall, remember, half the people out there, over half the people in the United States don't own stock. So it's if you do own stock, hang tight. I actually I'm trying to open Ameritrade account, because I wanted to buy some stock. Unfortunately, some fortunately and unfortunately, one stock I wanted to buy was $27 when I tried to open up the account. And unfortunately, because everything going on, they said it would take a week. So I won't even have that account open for a couple days because I invest in real estate. I don't invest in stocks, but I saw great opportunities out there. And the stock I wanted to invest in that at one point was $60, went all the way down to 27, and I wanted to jump in and invest. And I'm still kind of waiting for my paperwork, and it's up to $40. So, but you know what? That's a good thing, obviously. And there's going to be ups and downs, but remember, this is the greatest country that has ever existed. And I absolutely believe that we're going to come out of here, because we learned so many lessons through this. We're going to come out of here much, much stronger than we did going in. We had some failures in the past that we didn't prepare. Well, we're learning from those, or we're going to grow from those. So this doesn't happen again. We'll have a virus, an antidote for the virus and such forth, probably, within a year, along with the drugs we're working on now. So there's so much good news out there. Just get in a routine, focus on the good news. Obviously, it's so important that we stay safe and sheltered. Why we kind of keep this thing from jumping so far up it overwhelms the hospitals and the medical staff. The banks are strong. They're borrowing the money. People ask me all the time, Joe, because it's negative interest or 0%, does that mean the interest rates are 0%? No, it doesn't. That's the money that they loan the banks. And the banks are really strong because remember, now they're borrowing the money at 0% and they're still getting, 4, 5, 6, 7% on car loans and God knows how much on credit card loans. So the banks are doing fine, and the banks will be bailed out if they need to be. Obviously, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and now all the major banks, Wells Fargo, Chase, Citi, have all talked about now delaying home payments for people to help people out that don't have any income coming in, that they don't have to make their house payment. So there's so much good news going on out there. The other thing, too, is the interest rates. Now, they've been so up and down because they were overwhelmed with all the refinances, and now we don't have a lot of people on the secondary money market that will buy those loans. So you have a situation where there's no money out there. Well, the Fed has just been pumping a ton of money in. To be honest with you, when you look at the Treasury, the 10-year Treasury, interest rates should be about 2%. Now, they're still trading in the high threes, but they're going to come down with all this money that the Fed is pumping in. So great time to be a buyer out there or potentially refinance. And always reach out to us if you're looking for a good lender. We have, a lot of good ones out there. The other thing that's a lot of talk about, and a lot of controversy has been going on about getting back to work. I think that that's important. I mean, sometimes the cure can be worse than the disease. And now that's hard to say when you know someone potentially that died. But obviously there's got to be a balance there. That's why it's so important there are these 2 to 3 weeks that we really practice our social distancing so we can get back to work sooner, because this country was made to work. And remember, this isn't to downplay anything, but 30 to 80,000 people a year die from the flu. Over 1 million people die from car accidents every year, but yet we don't not get in our car. But we've got to be smart about it. So everything I think that they're doing as far as really pushing the social distancing, I think is good, because we can't overwhelm the hospitals. So where's the market going? So, well, first off, I have to add a little bit of humor to this because it's such a serious situation. When you look at this, I saw this because I'm so now engaged with Facebook and all my friends and clients and such forth on Facebook. It's kind of refreshing and it's kind of nice, but I saw this one pop up. Homeschooling is going well. 2 students suspended for fighting and 1 teacher fired for drinking on the job. I had to share that because, it was so, I just laughed out loud on that one. So the other thing is, we talked a lot last week why this is not like 2008 in the stock market and what happened with the housing market, because again, it's completely different. The housing market led the recession, and we went through all those graphs. I'm not going to re-show you all the graphs last week, but why this isn't 2008. One of it, when you look at the .com and the 9/11 crash, the S&P correction from 2000, 2002 was minus 45%. But look at the appreciation, 2000, 2001, 2002, averaging, 7-8% over those 3 years. Just like we talked about before, in the last 5 recessions, which a lot of times the reason people come to me, because having been professionally selling real estate for 42 years, I've sold during all 5 of these recessions. I've been professionally selling since 1978, and you can see 3 out of 5 of the last 5 recessions, the real estate market went up. And one, it stayed about the same. It was only in the 2008 when real estate really drove the recession. There was just a lot of, stupid decisions made that did that, and people got out ahead of their skis a little bit. The big thing, though, is the inventory. In 2008, there was 2 million home starts. And today there's more demand for housing, yet there's only 1 million home starts lined up for 2020. So going into this, we only had a 3.1 backlog of homes for sale, which is really small. 6 is somewhat normal, 5, 6. Well, in 2007, there was 8.2. So that's why this isn't 2008 as far as how it's going to affect the real estate market. And Goldman Sachs, and this is the way I feel. I mean, most people feel that this is going to almost kind of be a V recovery. We're gonna tackle this, and we're gonna get on the other side of this, and we're gonna be stronger. And the economy, the jobs, it's not that it's going to happen overnight, but those were all positive going into this. So they're going to come out of it very quickly. And I really feel that, obviously the GDP forecast by Goldman Sachs, you see there, quarter minus 5%, which is huge. But quarter three, I think, especially for the real estate market, is going to be a recovery where, we're going to have a lot of homes hit the market. People are holding off. It's going to level off the market. But then I think in quarter four, and when we're looking at early spring next year, I think we're going to be dealing with the same situation where we're going to have 3 buyers for every 1 home like we had, 2 months ago. So when you look at the markets, you look at the Danville market, obviously, you can see that last week compared to this week, but I want to really focus on the overall when you look at it. You can see the pending sales this week, there were 82 pending sales. And last week, there was 88 pending sales. But yet, there was 21 homes that were pending that ended up closing escrow during that week. So literally, you had about 20 homes added to the pending sale graph. So I mean, things are still selling. People are out there. The buyers are out there. You can see that obviously the inventory came down a little bit, and you're going to continue to see that inventory go down. And also, you can see how the market was affected compared to last week, and 1 to 2 million, under a million, and 2 million and over. San Ramon, the same type of thing. You can see the pending sales went from 94 to 85 last week, but there were 26 of those pending sales that closed. So literally, there was around 20 additional homes that went pending in last week. So there's still activity out there in the market. Then you can see obviously the other price ranges. Blackhawk overall, you saw the pending sales. Last week it was 11, it went up to 14, and when you had 1 sale, you had 4 pending sales last week in Blackhawk, which is, a little slower market because of the price ranges than San Ramon and Danville. And then the Alamo, same type of thing. Last week you had 19 pendings. This week you have 21, but when you factor in the 3 that went sold, you really had 5 additional sales. So, I mean, the market's moving slow. You can see the active listings last week, 38 down to 32. And that's natural. A lot of people are waiting. It's very, you have to be patient we have a new addendum that talks about delays because of financing, because of, the coronavirus, because of closing, that we're putting in, getting appraisers out, inspections out, and such forth like that. So if you're a buyer or seller, you got to be more patient. Not more patient, you just have to be patient because it's going to take a little bit longer. But that's where you see the markets going. So people ask me every week, what would you do if you're a seller? And as I mentioned last week, you can see that homes are still going pending. I would definitely, if your home was ready to go, I would put it on the market because there's a lack of inventory out there comparatively in a couple months when we're on the other side of this and more homes come on the market. Now, obviously, if you're not ready to go on the market, it's difficult. We have subcontractors. We're still working where we're able to. We're just doing essential services, but our essential services is taking care of our clients, whatever our clients need. So if I'm a seller, I'm either getting my home on the market or I'm at least prepping it to get it ready to go. So, safely, with keeping their social distance and such forth like that, but getting the home ready. So once, we're on the other side of this, hopefully, in the next, 2 weeks, the 30 days, you can kind of jump on the market before kind of the onslaught of homes coming on the market. So that's what I would do if I was a seller. If I was a buyer, I would absolutely be a buyer in this market. I wouldn't feel rushed. I mean, there's going to be a lot more homes come on the market as we get into the summer, but there's a lot of choice homes out there now that normally you'd have to be competing with 3 to 4 offers, and you're not. You're just basically, you can go out there and buy it for asking price or a little bit below asking price, where before you might have to get bid up. So always remember you can call me directly, email if you have any questions. Again, phone number 925-487-6838, joe@kehrigteam.com. Again, God bless you, God bless the United States, and God bless the world. We're all into this together. We really find how small our world is when something like this happens. And the other side too, one of the reasons I'm doing this is that what your home is completely different than what it was a month ago. We talk about our home being an investment. Well, no, your home is where your family gathers, and it's where you're gathering with your loved ones to shelter in space. Again, God bless, and I will be talking to you next week.